The steps are listed on page 5 of your guided notes on how to find the least common denominator. The least common denominator is the smallest number that a group of numbers will divide into. So let's look at example 1. What's the smallest number that 3 and 12 will divide into? It's not 3, that's a common answer. It's 12. The smallest number that a 3 and a 12 will divide into is 12. So we know what the answer is, but let's go ahead and use the process found on page 5. So we're going to find the prime factorization of each number. So that's going to be 3 is just 3, and 12 is 4 times 3, or 2 squared times 3. So that was step 1. Step 2 is list each factor. So only factors I see are 2's and 3's. Step 3 says the exponent on each factor will be the most the factor shows up in any number. So how many 3's do you see in this first case? I only see 1. How many 3's do you see in 12? I only see 1. What was the largest number you said? 1. So you have an exponent of 1 on the 3. Now let's do the same thing with the 2. How many 2's do you see up here? None. How many 2's here? 2. What was the most you said? 2. So your LCD is 4 times 3, which is 12, and we already knew that, but we went through the process because you can't always eyeball it. All right, 15 and 25. 15 and 25. 15 is 5 times 3. And 25 is 5 squared. LCD equals. List your factors. I see 3's and I see 5's. What's the most of 3 shows up here? Once. What's the most of 3 shows up here? None. The most I said, 1. What's the most of 5 shows up here? Once. What's the most of 5 shows up down here? Twice. What was the most I said? Twice. That's 3 times 25, or 75. One more example. 24 and 15. 24, 15. 24 is 8 times 3. That's 2 cubed times 3. 15 is 3 times 5. List your factors. I see 2's, 3's, 5's. What's the most a 2 shows up here? 3 times. None here. The most I said was 3. What's the most a 3 shows up here? Once. Down here, once. The most I said was once. What's the most a 5 shows up here? None. Down here, once. So my LCD is 8 times 3 times 5, and that's 24 times 5, which is 120.